day for me. So, all right, we are live for our pre-market analysis. Thanks for everyone on YouTube for tuning in and welcome. This is just another glimpse to show you how we prepare our day trading room and how we take trades and how we prepare. Preparation is key, guys. I mean, that's going to set us apart from everybody else, and also it's going to help us execute our trades that much better. So let's just jump right into it because we've got a busy day ahead of us. General Motors. General Motors is on my A list today, guys. I like it. It's gapping up into all-time highs. We broke out of a multi-year high, a multi-year consolidation. So this is significant. Bank of America and other analysts are calling for General Motors to rip even more. I saw price targets at above 60. Bank of America, I shared the report with you guys today, added it to their top list of stocks for 2021. And that list of stocks is about 30 stocks. So General Motors is one of the 30 stocks that they have on their top stocks for their investors. And look at it now. We have some traders in the room that are being rewarded off of this gap up. We had some traders swing, 55 calls, and some who were actually swinging equity on the shares. Good for you guys. Congratulations. And make sure to take those profits. And if you're planning to hold for a little longer, then just make sure you're not giving back more, right? If the stock does sell off for whatever reason. So the way I see it is this. It just broke out recently of a bull flag breakout. So I want to see it hold the 56 level. If we can hold, 56, then this looks pretty good. This could probably run, maybe to 57, 57 and a half. I like it a lot. So this is going to be on my A list today. Another name that I really like is Tesla. So Tesla received the highest price target upgrade on Wall Street, $1,036. All-time highs on Tesla is 884 and change. So we're not too far from it. We're 30 points away from it. You guys know Tesla can run 30 points, 50 points easy. So actually Tesla reports earnings pretty soon. Does anybody know what day they report earnings? Let me take a quick look here in Merrill Edge. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think it's next week or the following. I got it pulled up here. So Merrill Edge is telling me they report earnings on the 27th. So exactly a week from today. It's very likely, and then you get a price target upgrade prior to the earnings report. So it's very likely that Tesla is going to get bought up. It's going to get bought up into earnings, and after the earnings report, that's when the stock will react based on the results. We already know that they delivered 500,000 cars last year, right? So I think some key things that investors are going to look at for the earnings report is, cash flow, profitability, and then guidance. They're going to look for guidance on how many vehicles they can deliver this year, and also, how they're performing in the European and Chinese markets. So Tesla is going to be very key for us to watch in the coming days. I may even take some option plays into Tesla. So earnings. So we will see, and I'll let you guys know. I'm not going to say that in recording because I want to make that exclusively just to you guys. FCEL, I've got this on my watch list. Earnings is tomorrow, and I think this is going to have some volatility prior to the earnings. There is some implied volatility for earnings as well. I'm going to share with you guys on how I'm going to trade this into earnings. You can actually see it in the swing channel. So that's that. Disney. I like Disney for one reason. Netflix killed it, right, with their earnings report. Netflix is gapping up. I mean, you guys see it. 73 points. A lot of analysts were talking about how Disney is literally going to be the new Netflix. I think, first of all, Disney is gapping up in sympathy with Netflix results. I think Disney can actually go on for a little run here based on that, because investors are seeing how good Netflix performed on this earnings report. And I think they're going to put their eyes on Disney and Roku as well to see how they can perform. So I think Disney and Roku, which I'm going to, I guess, talk about both of them now at the same time, are going to be on my A list for today because they can run in sympathy with it. So the way I see it is this: if Disney breaks above 178, you can go long. You can put your stops probably right here, like 177, 176, and I think we can probably hit 180 today. If Disney sells off, then look to short Disney if it breaks 176. All right, so that's the long idea. That's the short idea. Blackberry's just been on a rip ever since they had that patent resolution or settlement. Blackberry has just been on a non-stop rip. So it just broke above the pre-market highs of 1320. We did play this yesterday. Yesterday I did call to play along if it broke above the pre-market highs of like 1080, 1070 range. Had you played that, you'd be up serious cash. And today it's just continuing the move it had yesterday. So I would want to see Blackberry hold 1320, which is the pre-market high. I want it to hold that range. If it holds that range, you can rip to the upside. If it sells off, I'm specifically looking at the 1275 range. If it sells off, maybe you can get some puts on it. All right. So anything in between that is just a consolidation range, and you don't want to get chopped up if it stays stuck in that 50-cent range. You want to see a decisive move to the upside or to the downside. Another name I like, Facebook. Facebook, we called this swing, specifically Santi called this swing a couple days ago, and it is rewarding a lot of our traders. Look at the move. Yesterday closed at 261. Today's gapping up to 267.70. Look at the daily chart. Nice reversal here from January 14th. RSI touched 30. The stock price traded below the Bollinger Band. So that right there tells you that it was oversold and it bounced 20 points in 3 days. So that's just to show you guys that the timing of the swing trade call that Santi made was perfect. Perfect. So with that being said, let's talk about how we can day trade it today. Right now it's bull flagging in pre-market. So if it breaks above 268, we can go long, but you're gonna have to put your stops at around 267.40, which is the bottom of this mini bull flag right here. If it breaks that 267.40 area, I want to see it hold this 266. Specifically speaking, I want to see it hold the 264 range because that is the 20 MA on the daily. I want to see Facebook hold the 20 MA on the daily. If it does, you can probably even initiate a swing position if you have not done so already. I would nibble, don't go too big. So in case it pulls, you can add into the position. But that's specifically what I'm looking at for Facebook. So if Facebook fails all these levels, if the market decides to sell off today, then we can look at an entry point for a short. Another name, I briefly mentioned it, Netflix. I've been swinging Netflix. I played a straddle options strategy with call options, 550 calls. I'm 23 points in the money, so I am excited to see the market open. We can day trade Netflix as well, guys. So I want to specifically see Netflix hold the 567 range, right? There's some basing action there. If profit taking occurs, I want to see Netflix really hold 561, right? I am under the impression that, and I believe, I have with a little bit of conviction that we can probably see Netflix rip even more, 580, 585, because look at all the price targets that came out. I mean, my goodness, every single analyst on the street are just bullish on Netflix. Netflix finally woke up. Look at this consolidation it had for pull up a 1 year chart. It went nowhere since July. It consolidated for 5 freaking months. And now decided, and look at, we're going to break all-time highs today. And don't be surprised if Netflix is at 600, 650 within the next couple of weeks. I might even just hold on to my call options, knowing that it's going to have some more upside. So we'll see. We'll see if I just decide to hold or just to take profit. So with that being said, guys, it's kind of flagging right here. So if it rips and breaks out at 575, you can go long, but you're going to have to put your stops at 572. Right, for a quick rip to the upside, and you're going to risk about 3 to 4 points on this trade for potential upside of 3 to 4 points at a minimum. Netflix can move, so there's a lot of eyes on this one today. I've got some other names. Alibaba, I think I briefly mentioned it. Right now, it's flagging, on this gap up. So I want to see Alibaba break above 268, 269, rip to the upside, probably hit 271, 272. If it breaks above pre-market highs, we're definitely long this stock. No ifs, ands, or buts. If it sells off, we can look for a short entry or just wait for a reversal to kick in. So I will leave it at that because those names are my top names. One other one. Let me bring up Roku here. So Roku, I know I brought it up already as I was talking about Disney, but Roku is, what's wrong with my chart here? Roku's gapping up, all-time highs. Right now it's sitting at the pre-market high, so this might just pop right out of the gates. I'm not going to rush into Roku. Roku is an expensive stock and it moves. So if Roku sells off, I will short it if it breaks below 441, maybe for some gap fill to occur. If it decides to rip, we can wait for an entry point on a bull flag breakout. But right now it's sitting at its pre-market highs. So I have the impression that maybe any moment it just might pop. And we're just going to have to wait for an entry point on it. So with that being said, Tosh, what are your top stocks?
Yeah, so definitely. I mean, a lot of those names are, going to be popping off. I mean, the A list is going to be full today.
Yeah.
I think we have a lot of, great setups. One name that I'm looking at specifically is DraftKings. So DraftKings actually had a price target upgrade from Morgan Stanley. So you're getting a tier 1 analyst coming out and saying that they raised price targets to $60 from previously $39. So you're looking at, almost, what is that, 30, 40, 50% increase in their price target upgrade. Granted, the stock is trading, around $54. But what I like about DraftKings is you're having some volume come in as well as a nice bounce off of the 8 and 20 MA. So if DraftKings can, have some support today, trade above yesterday's high, which was 53.92, I believe we've already touched that price or came very close to it. I think you could see DraftKings maybe today even test that prior resistance around 56.77. So I'm definitely going to have DraftKings on my watch list. The way I would play it out of the gates is if it breaks above 53.80, pick up some call options, go ahead and throw your stops around 53.50. That way you're looking at a 30-cent risk on a potential, this could easily go up, DraftKings could easily go up $1 out of the gate. So that's an easy, 2, 3, possibly 4 to 1 trade if it really starts to pick up momentum to the upside. So I'm definitely going to be watching DraftKings out of the gates. Another name I'm going to be watching is Futu. So if you remember, Futu is actually a name that we traded, I believe, last week or maybe a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
I don't see any news on Futu, but it's gapping up aggressively.
That's crazy.
It was up, it's up $11 from the close yesterday. It's gapping up into all-time highs. So, hey, there are traders here. There are people trading it. It's gapping up aggressively, so I'm going to watch it. Right? There's no news that's catapulting the stock to this its all-time high as far as I could see from the news that I'm getting.
Right.
But hey, let's trade the chart. We're technical traders, right? So the way I see Futu out of the gates, you can play it long around 92, 92.25. And you can throw your stops at around 91, 91.80, 91.70. So you're looking at about a 50-cent risk on this play. So, if it breaks out above that 92.25 and it tests, I think there will be a good chance for it to test that pre-market high of 94.22, which is about $2 away. So that should be a nice 2-to-1 play if Futu continues that momentum to the upside. The chart looks really solid. So I'll definitely be keeping a very close eye on that. So that's also going to be on my A list.
Yeah, I like that too. Very nice.
Another name that I like, you already mentioned it, Baba. They finally found our guy Jack. So he, look at the way this stock. We were talking about Baba last week at possibly, there's a good chance it could fill that gap around 250, 253.
Yep.
Look where Baba is now. 200. Earlier today it was $271. We were calling to go long in this thing around like 220, 215. And you would have been rewarded greatly. So nonetheless, let's take advantage of the day trade on it.
Yep.
And again, heavily traded during pre-market hours. So there's obviously going to be a lot of price action, a lot of buyers, a lot of sellers coming into the stock. So, let's make sure that we participate in it. The Bollinger Band is at 263.05 from yesterday's closing price. We're actually gapping up a little above that, 267. Next resistance points that I'm seeing is around, we already cleared that, 265. So I'm seeing next resistance around 271. 271. 130, pre-market high was 271.65. So we're already starting to hit those levels. Mm-hmm. So if Bob was able to break out above, I think you already mentioned levels, you could definitely test that 271.65, and if you could break above that, Bob is set to go on a nice run.
Yep.
Because I don't see any big resistance until around 280.45, and there's actually a gap to fill between 275.67 and 268.97. So put that in perspective as well.
Yes, nice.
Another name I'll be watching, this is kind of on my B/A list, it could possibly creep into the A list, is Baidu. Baidu is gapping up as well. Again, no big news on the stock. It may just have something to do with, Baba gapping up a lot of the Chinese. Yeah, look at JD. JD's doing the same thing. So you're going to see a lot of these, Chinese stocks start to rally up with Baba. But what I like about Baidu is it's actually gapping up into its all-time highs. So, if you remember last time we traded Baidu, this thing, ripped to the upside when it started to hit those all-time highs.
Yeah.
It's breaking out of a nice bull flag that we have on the daily. It's still fairly close to the 8 of May, fairly close. So I think we could have one more day of a pop in it, possibly two if it starts to get overextended. So I really like Baidu. If it can break out above, I'd say around like 259. You can throw your stops around 257.50. So you're looking at about $1.50 risk. It is going to be, a riskier stock, right? Because it is a $250, $260 stock, and it moves quite a bit.
Yeah.
However, this is a play that can definitely, get you paid nicely. But just be aware, definitely, of the risk reward when it comes to a lot of these plays. Specifically, the Baidu, Tesla, Roku, Netflix as well. A lot of these plays that we're mentioning, it may not serve your account to trade these names, right? And this is just something I want to go over, very quickly as a pre-game huddle.
Right.
Stick to stocks that you can trade within your risk parameters, right? So, if you want to trade Netflix and you can only risk $100 on the day, you shouldn't be trading Netflix, right? Because Netflix is going to have a higher risk than $100 usually.
Right.
Stick to some of the smaller names. Stick to GM, right? GM is something I think all of us should be able to play.
Yep.
The contracts are probably going to be a couple of dollars, maybe $5 max. And you're looking at, maybe $50 to $100 risk on some of these plays, right? So if that's the case, hey, have that at the top of your list and watch those. Same with FCEL. A lot of these cheaper names are going to present us some great opportunities. As far as my B list goes, I'm really just going to watch. I'm going to watch Tilray, obviously because of the inauguration today. I just want to really keep an eye on some of the industries that have performed well, since the elections have kind of had an impact on some of these industries. So I want to keep an eye on Tilray. Again, B list, you can almost call it a C list, just in case it starts to pop off. It's a stock that's been hot lately. It started to have a pullback, but nonetheless, this thing could kick up at any moment, and I just want to make sure that I'm keeping an eye on it. And then the last name that I'll be watching is the overall market. So the S&P is actually about, what is this?
Look at that.
50 cents away from its all-time high. So there are going to be a lot of opportunities across the entire market. The S&P starts hitting all-time highs, and look at it on the daily.
Yep.
It has yet to really take off, right? It's crept up to its all-time high and just kind of poked its head above it, right? But then consolidates. We've had about nearly 2 weeks of consolidation ever since it broke out to that 381.49, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a good chance if we can creep back up to that 381.49, that maybe we could have a really big rally on our hands. So
Yes,
I just want to make sure that I'm there. You guys see the opportunity. If it starts to break out, you can see S&P really start to pick up momentum and rotate to the upside. So
Yep.
I'll be having that on my B list as well.
And
But
you have the Nasdaq ripping up into all-time highs thanks to Netflix. Netflix is a big component of the Nasdaq. So look at the triple Qs gapping up into all-time highs.
yeah, there you go. So that lets you know the tech industry is going to be a lot of opportunities. Same with Facebook. Facebook's going to contribute to that as well.
Yep.
Haven't taken a look at Apple yet. Apple's gapping up a little bit, about $1. Not as much as the other names, but Apple looks pretty solid as well. It's actually bull flagging here. But yeah, that pretty much is my list. So my A list is definitely going to be, I'm going to keep Baba on the A list, Netflix, Tesla, Futu, and I believe DraftKings was the other one. Oh, and GM. GM as well. I think, Alex, you already went over GM.
I did, yeah. I went over GM.
In detail.
Yep.
But GM is definitely going to be on the A list as well.
Nice. I like it, man. Yeah. Something, since you touched on the overall market. So you've got a lot of stimulus coming in. The Biden administration already presented, I think, like a $2 trillion stimulus package that they want to push through. And so you've got a recipe for the market to keep going higher. The only thing that really is going to put conviction behind the market going higher is earnings reports. That's why we need to keep a close eye on these earnings reports, and that's why we need to trade them. If earnings starts coming out with the big boys, right, like Netflix, Amazon, Google, Facebook, all Tesla, all these big earnings come out, and they're beating them by a landslide, the market's going to push higher, because that's the last piece of the formula to get this market really going to 4,000 on the S&P 500. As long as earnings is really good, this market's going to rip, because you've got good earnings, you've got stimulus, being pumped into the economy like crazy, and and you've got a friendly Federal Reserve. So with those three big components in the formula, wow, look at Facebook just popped a whole dollar right there.
I know, man.
So with those three pieces in the equation, this market will rip to 4,000 as long as everything works out. So just keep that in the back of your mind, and actually in the forefront of your mind as we're trading these stocks and the overall markets. I mean, look at the Russell 2000, gapping up as well. I think is the Russell. Yep, it's about to gap into all-time highs, or it's pretty close to it. So, the small cap stocks are ripping. The Nasdaq, the tech stocks are ripping. The overall, broad market is ripping. So things are looking good. So we just gotta know what's moving and how to trade them. For me personally, my A list today is gonna be Netflix, Facebook, Baba, Disney, Roku, and Tesla. And I think the first observation you can make is, damn, Alex, these are all expensive stocks. I know, but these are the stocks that are moving, and these are the stocks where I know I can make my cash for the day, and those are going to be my A list stocks. All the other names that we mentioned are going to be my B list stocks. So I'll be keeping a close eye on the B list as well. So with that being said, guys, we've got a couple minutes left before the market opens. Let me just tune off the recording for YouTube. Everyone that's tuning in, thanks for tuning in. If you have any comments or questions, hit us up. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. And we'd love to just invite you to the Stack Trading community. It's an open community for everybody. And if you love what you see, you can come day trade with us and subscribe and make money every single day. So thanks for tuning in.